नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तमलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। अध्याय 13 श्लोक 22 उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। We have seen the bhashya of Upadrashta and Anumanta. Now Bharta. Bharta Bharanam Nama Dehendriya Manobuddhinam Samhatanam Chaitanyatmapararthyena Nimitta-bhutena Chaitanyabhasanam yat Swarupadharanam tat Chaitanyatmakritameva iti Bharta Atma Uchyate Atma Ityuchyate. So Bharta is Bha dhatu plus Trich. So Bha has the meaning of Bharanam. Bharanam means the action of sustaining, action of supporting is called Bharanam. Bharanasya karta bharta. So Trich pratyaya is kartari. Therefore, the doer of the action of Bharanam is called Bharta. Bharanasya karta bharta. What is Bharanam in this context? Bharanam literally means sustaining or supporting. What is Bharanam in this context? Bhashyakara explains. Bharanam Nama. So Bharanam means, Nama is an avyaya. It has the sense of, it means this. Bharanam means Dehendriya buddhinam samhatanam. Deha, Indriya, Manaha and Buddhi. All these are samhata. They are assembled together. Various components that are assembled together. And they are, since they are samhata, we have a logic, Sanghatanam Pararthyat. Sanghata works for somebody who is different from the Sanghata, who is a Chaitanya, Chetana. We have seen this logic earlier. So dehendriya manobuddhinam samhatanam, deha, indriya, manaha and buddhi, they are samhata. And being samhata, they are serving the purpose of somebody else. Therefore, chaitanyatma pararthyena nimitta bhutena, chaitanyatma pararthyena, they have the pararthya with respect to chaitanyatma. They are subservient to the chaitanya. Nimitta bhutena, on account of this reason, chaitanya bhasanam, they seems to be like chaitanya. They seems to be like chaitanya because they are working for chaitanya. Since they are working for chaitanya, since they are doing the work of chaitanya, since they are serving the purpose of chaitanya, therefore they also appear to be chaitanya. Chaitanya abhasanam. Yat swarupadharanam, their swarupadharana. Swarupadharanam means their presence. The deha, indriya, manaha, buddhi, etc., their very presence is called swarupadharanam. Sustenance of their swarupa, sustenance of their nature. Tat chaitanyatmakritam eva, it is chaitanyatmakrita, it is caused by the chaitanya atma, meaning the deha, indriya, etc., they are present on account of the chaitanya. They are sustained on account of the chaitanya. Means they get their satta and spurti on account of chaitanya. Therefore, atma bharta iti uchyate. Therefore, atma is called bharta, the support, the sustainer of everything, deha, indriya, etc. Next visheshana is bhokta. Bhokta agnyushnavat nitya chaitanya swarupena buddhehe sukha dukkha mohatmakaha pratyayaha sarva vishaya vishayaha chaitanyatmagrastaha iva jayamanaha vibhaktaha vibhavyante iti bhokta atma uchyate. So bhokta means enjoyer. Sukha dukkhadinam bhokta, the enjoyer of sukha, dukkha, etc. But the atma is not bhokta in reality. The atma does not have bhoktrutva. Then how can you call atma the bhokta? Then Bhashyakara says, here bhoktrutva should not be understood literally. Then what is the meaning of bhoktrutva? When any pratyaya originates, see the bhoga means sukha, dukkha, etc. Sukha dukkha sakshatkaro bhogaha. So bhoga is in the form of the sukha, dukkha, etc. Various vrittis in the mind. They are bhoga, sukha. When we say sukha, pleasure, it is a vritti in our mind. When we say dukkha, it is also another vritti in the mind. So these are called bhoga. Now, sukha, dukkha, etc., the vrittis, to who they belong, he can be called bhokta in reality. To who sukha, dukkhadi vrittis belong can be called bhoga. Where does sukha, dukkhadi vrittis belong? To the antahkarana. Since they happen in the antahkarana, we can say antahkarana has bhoktrutva, because bhoga, the vritti, happen in the antahkarana. But then antahkarana is a jada. It is jada. Being a jada, it cannot become the bhokta in reality. Now see, bhoga vritti belongs to the antahkarana. Therefore, the bhoktrutva can be attributed to the antahkarana. But the problem is, antahkarana is jada. Being a jada, it cannot have the real bhoktrutva. Being a jada, antahkarana cannot be really the bhokta. And Atma is nirvikara. Being nirvikara, even Atma cannot be bhokta in reality. Therefore, in reality, nothing is bhokta. Neither antahkarana is bhokta, nor Atma is bhokta. Therefore, bhoktrutva is mithya. In reality, bhoktrutva is mithya. There is nothing called bhoktrutva. Then when do you feel that you are bhokta? When the antahkarana and its vrittis are superimposed on you, superimposed on the Atma seems to be bhokta. So bhokta, bhoktrutva is avidyakrita. There is no bhoktrutva in reality. But then here, Atma is referred to as bhokta. Why Atma is referred to as bhokta here? Not that Atma is really bhokta. So bhokta should not be taken literally. Then why Atma is called bhokta? It is because the antahkarana vritti, which is called bhoga, it is illumined by Atma Tattva. Being illumined by Atma Tattva, the antahkarana vritti becomes a bhoga. That is why Atma is called bhokta. See, bhokta, he explains the word bhokta. Agnyushnavat nitya chaitanya swarupena. So, see, buddhehe sukha dukkha mohatmakaha pratyaya. In the buddhi, there are three types of pratyayas: sukha, dukkha, and moha. There are other pratyayas also, but mainly these three: sukha, dukkha, and moha. These three types of pratyayas, sarva vishaya vishayaha, they may have anything as their vishaya. Sukha, the sukha pratyaya can have anything as its vishaya. Whatever seems to produce sukha, it is the vishaya of the sukha pratyaya. सो सर्वविषयविषयाः, सर्वे विषयाः विषयाः येषां ते सर्वविषयविषयाः, फॉर विच एनी विषय इस विषय. Then when they originate, jayamanaha, when they are born, chaitanyagrastaha iva, they are born as though they are mixed with the chaitanya. Chaitanyagrastaha iva, chaitanyagrastaha iva, as though they are mixed with the chaitanya. Why iva? Because in reality there cannot be an association with the chaitanya and the vritti, because vritti is mithya, jada and mithya, chaitanya is satya. That is why in reality there is no sambandha between chaitanya and the vritti, but still because of avidya they seem to have association with the chaitanya. That is why Bhashyakara says chaitanyagrastaha iva, as though they are associated with the chaitanya, pervaded by chaitanya. That way Agnyushnavat Nitya Chaitanya Swarupena. So why they become Chaitanya Grasta? On account of the Nitya Chaitanya Swarupa Atma. There is the Atma which is Nitya Chaitanya Swarupa, and its nature is Agnyushnavat, like the fire, like the heat of the fire. The Chaitanya is the nature of the Atma. That is why this Drishtanta, Agnyushnavat, like the heat of the fire, the Chaitanya is the nature of the Atma. Therefore, it is Nitya Chaitanya. Nitya Chaitanya Swarupena Atmana Vibhaktaha Vibhavyante. By this Atma, Vibhaktaha, distinctly, means every pratyaya is vibhakta. Every pratyaya is different. Vibhaktaha, distinctly, vibhavyante, they are illumined by the Atma Chaitanya, by as though associating with every pratyaya. Iti, therefore Atma Bhokta Uchyate. Atma is called Bhokta, means as though Bhokta, seems to be Bhokta. Being the illuminer of all the pratyayas, Atma seems to be Bhokta. In reality, there is no Bhoktrutva in the Atma. No Bhoktrutva means no Samsaritva also. The very Samsaritva of the Atma is avidya kalpita. Maheshwaraha sarvatmatvat स्वतंत्रत्वाच्च महान ईश्वरश्च इति महेश्वरः. Maheshwaraha is another word used to describe Paramatma. So, Mahan cha asau Ishwaraha cha iti Maheshwaraha. He is Mahan, great, as well as Ishwara. Why Mahan? Sarvatmatvat Mahan. Since he is the Atma of everyone, he is Mahan. And Swatantratvat Ishvaraha. Since he is Swatantra, independent in everything, means he does not have any other ruler. He is the ultimate ruler. So he is Swatantra, absolutely Swatantra. No one else is Swatantra. We may say we are Swatantra, but so many factors rule us. So the ultimate Swatantra is Ishvara only. So Swatantratvat Maheshwaraha, Sarvatmatvat Swatantratvatcha Mahan Ishwarascha iti Maheshwaraha. Then Paramatma Dehadinam Buddhyantanam Pratyagatma iti Pratyagatmatvena Kalpitanam Avidyaya Paramaha Upadrashtratvadilakshanaha Atma iti Paramatma Saha Anyaha. Antaha is a reading. Anyaha is a better reading. Yeah. Sorry, Ataha. Ataha is a better reading. Ataha iti pathaha shayal. Ataha. Ataha. Yeah. Ataha. Paramatma इत्यनेन शब्देन चापि उक्तः कथितः श्रुतौ परमात्मा. So he is the Paramaha Atma, the ultimate Atma. Why Paramaha, ultimate? Because so many other things are taken to be Atma on account of avidya. See, Dehadinam Buddhyantanam, starting from Deha up to Buddhi, all of them are Pratyagatma, Avidyaya Pratyagatmatvena Kalpitanam. They are Kalpita Atmas. Because of avidya, they are Pratyagatmatvena Kalpitaha. They are thought to be Atma. They are identified as Atma. Now, if we inquire properly, we understand that Paramaha Atma, the Atma which is described as Upadrashta, etc. Upadrashtritvadilakshanaha, the Atma described as Upadrashta, etc. He is the Paramaha Atma, the ultimate Atma. See, you can remember the analysis in Taittiriya Upanishad. Annamaya Atma, Pranamaya Atma, Manomaya Atma. So, when you dismiss each Atma, ultimately where you arrive at, it is the Paramatma, the ultimate Atma. Iti Paramatma. Therefore, it is called Paramatma. Otherwise, the adjective Parama is not needed. You could have just told Atma. Why the adjective Parama Atma is required? Since so many other things are taken to be Atma on account of avidya, in order to rule out them and to say that it is not the avidya kalpita atma, it is the parama atma, the ultimate atma. Sometimes the Shastra uses the adjective parama. So, paramaha atma, and how it is paramaha? Upadrashtratvadi lakshanaha. Since it is upadrashta, etc., as described in this very shloka, it is paramatma. Ataha, therefore, saha paramatma ityanena shabdena chapi uktaha. Therefore, the atma is called by the word paramatma also. Uktaha means kathitaha, told, referred to. Where? In the Shruti. Shrutau. In the Shruti, he is called Paramatma also, because he is the ultimate Atma. When you rule out all the Atmas that are avidya kalpita, what remains is the Atma, the Paramatma. Kvasau अस्मिन् देहे पुरुषः परः अव्यक्तात् उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः इति यो वक्ष्यमाणः क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि इति उपन्यस्तः व्याख्याय उपसंहृतश्च. So, kva asau, where is he? The one who is described here, upadrashta, etc. Where is he? Kva asau. Kva means kutra. Asau kutra. He where? Asmin dehe. He is present in this very body. Then further description. Purushaha paraha. He is Purushaha paraha. Paraha Purushaha. Paraha means avyaktat paraha. He transcends avyakta. Avyakta means maya. He transcends maya. That kind of Purusha is described here. And he is called Purusha. In favor of that, Bhashyakara quotes some other statements from Gita itself. Uttamah purushastvanyah paramatmetyudahritah iti yaha vakshyamanaha. One who will be referred to as Uttamah Purushaha. And also he is described earlier. He will be described later on as Uttama Purusha. And also he is described earlier where Kshetrajñam chapi mam viddhi iti upanyastaha. He is mentioned in the beginning of this chapter. Kshetrajñam chapi mam viddhi iti. And then Vyakhyaya upasamhritascha. He is described where Jneyam yattat pravakshyami etc. Vyakhyaya. What is mentioned in the statement Kshetrajñam chapi mam viddhi, it is described by Jneyam yattat pravakshyami etc. And in this shloka it is upasamhrita. It is concluded, summed up. the same Jnaya which is told earlier as Kshetrajna and which will be called as Uttama Purusha is summed up here. य एनं वेत्ति पुरुषं य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते. Now the phala of knowing the Purusha and the Prakriti and the distinction between the two. Yaha Purusham Gunaihi Saha Prakritim Cha Evam Veti. One who understands Yaha Purusham, Purusha as well as Prakriti along with its guna. Guna means effect, karya here. One who knows Yaha Veti in this manner as described here. Such ज्ञानी सर्वथा वर्तमानः अपि सः सर्वथा वर्तमानः अपि भूयः न अभिजायते. सः ही सर्वथा वर्तमानः अपि, in whatever way he is, in whatever way he is present, सह भूयः न अभिजायते. He is not born once again. So sarvatha means in any manner. In any manner he is present. In means he might be present in any manner. Means he may be living in any way he wants. But bhuyaha na abhijayate. He is not born once again. Meaning a jnani, his moksha is assured, his videha mukti is assured, even if he is doing adharma, whether he is following the shastra or not, his moksha is assured. That is the idea of sarvatha vartamanah api. Meaning that nothing can block the moksha of a jnani. Nothing can obstruct the moksha of a jnani. That is the idea. तमेवं यथोक्तलक्षणमात्मानं यः एवं यथोक्तप्रकारेण वेत्ति पुरुषं साक्षात् आत्मभावेन अहमिति अयमहमिति. What is there? Then what? Okay. Aham iti In my reading, Atmabhavena ayam aham iti. Prakritincha yathoktam avidyalakshanam gunaihi swavikaraihi saha nivartitanam. What is there? No. Yeah, nivartitam. Nivartitam abhavamapaditam vidyaya. Yeah, vidyaya. Huh? Vidyaya. It should be vidyaya. Sarvatha sarvaprakarena वर्तमानः अपि सह भूयः पुनः पतिते अस्मिन् विद्वच्छरीरे देहान्तराय न अभिजायते न उत्पद्यते देहान्तरन्न गृह्णाति इत्यर्थः. अपि शब्दात् किमु वक्तव्यं स्ववृत्तस्थः न जायते इत्यभिप्रायः. तम एवं यथोक्तलक्षणम् आत्मानं. So that Atma whose characteristics are described earlier, यथोक्तलक्षणम् आत्मानं यह एवं. एवं means यथोक्तप्रकारेण, at described before. वेत्ति. वेत्ति knows पुरुषम. आत्मा is purusha. पुरुषम आत्मानं वेत्ति. वेत्ति means not paroksha jnana. In order to exclude paroksha jnana, भाष्यकार से साक्षात अहम इति. साक्षात डायरेक्टली, अपरोक्षेण. अहम इति I am the Purusha, I am the Paramatma iti. And prakritincha yathoktam avidyalakshanam. And the prakriti is also described earlier, yathoktam, and it is avidyalakshana. Prakriti is in the form of avidya. Gunaihi. Gunaihi means swavikaraihi saha. Along with its vikara, along with the vikaras of Prakriti. Nivartitam. And Prakriti, how he should understand Prakriti? Not as real. The Prakriti should be understood as unreal. Nivartitam. Nivartitam Prakritim. The Prakriti which is Nivartita. Nivartita means vidyaya abhavam apaditam. That which is negated by vidya. Abhavam apadita. Negated by vidya. Means he should understand Prakriti and its karya as mithya. He understands Purusha as aham. Aham Purushaha. I am the Purusha. Whereas Prakriti and its effects are mithya. Such a person, saha, sarvatha, means sarvaprakarena, in any manner. Anandagiri says, vihitena nishiddhena cha, whether he follows the vihita vidhis or whether he does not follow the vidhis. Sarvaprakarena vartamanaha api, in whatsoever way he may live. Saha bhuyaha means punaha, once again. Patite asmin vidvat sharire, when the vidvat sharira, the body of the vidwan, falls down, means when the body dies, then dehantarayana abhijayate. Dehantaraya na abhijayate. He does not take birth to get another body. Na utpadyate means he is not born. Dehantaraya means for another body, to take another body. Na abhijayate means na utpadyate. He does not take birth once again. Means dehantaram na grinhati ityartha. He does not take another body. No more embodiment. Means he gets videha mukti. Videha mukti is assured if he has got jnana, even if he is not following the vidhis of the shastra. So why, even if he does not follow the vidhi of the shastra, why this is told? Does this mean that the jnani may not follow the vidhi? He will follow yatheshta charanam. Will a jnani do yatheshta charanam? This question is addressed in some texts. Then Sureshwaracharya says, buddhadvaita satattvasya yatheshta charanam yadi shunam tattvadrasham chaiva ko bhedo shuchi bhakshane. A jnani, buddhadvaita satattvaha, is a jnani. If he does yatheshta charanam, if he does what he likes, violating the injunction of the shastra, then what will be the difference between a jnani and a dog? Sureshwaracharya asks, implying that a jnani will not do yatheshta charanam. A jnani will not do yatheshta charanam. Why? Because of two reasons. See, why a jnani does not do yatheshta charanam and why an ajnani does not do yatheshta charanam, there is a difference. An ajnani avoids yatheshta charanam. I am talking about an ajnani who is an astika or a mumukshu. Such ajnani, he will avoid violating the injunction of the shastra. He will avoid adharma in order to get moksha. I have to get moksha, or I should not incur adharma, I should not incur papa and suffer. With this idea, he will avoid yatheshta charanam. It is with an ajnani. But as far as a jnani is concerned, a jnani is not interested in getting moksha, because already he has got moksha. Therefore, in order to get moksha or in order to get preparation, chitta shuddhi for moksha, an ajnani does not have to follow the Shastra. And an ajnani need not avoid the adharma even for avoiding papa, because an ajnani is free from punya, ajnani is free from punya and papa. Therefore, for a jnani, none of the reasons that are applicable to an ajnani to avoid papa are applicable to a jnani. None of the reasons that are applicable to an ajnani to avoid the papa, avoid adharma, are applicable to a jnani. Then why he will follow the vidhi nishedha? Why he will follow the vidhi nishedha? This question arises. So the answer is, we can give three answers in fact. One reason, even before getting jnana, a jnani is used to following the injunctions of the Shastra, avoiding the adharma. And because since it has become a habit, since it has become a samskara in him, even after attaining jnana, he will avoid the adharma. It is one reason. Another reason is, if you have to do adharma, in order to do adharma, you should have ragadvesha. Why does one do adharma? Any adharma charanam is on account of ragadvesha, the impulses. A jnani is free from such ragadvesha. Therefore, there is no reason for him to do adharma. It is another reason. And the third reason we can give is lokasangrahartham, so that he becomes an example for others. So that is the reasons given why a jnani, despite not having any requirement to avoid adharma, despite not having any obligation to avoid adharma, he will not commit adharma. These are the reasons. Therefore, it does not mean that a jnani will do adharma. Then what is the idea? The idea that is conveyed is, a jnani's moksha cannot be stopped by anyone. That is the idea. When Krishna says sarvatha vartamanopi. So api shabdat kimu vaktavyam. So api shabdat sarvatha vartamanaha api. In whatsoever way he lives, also he will get moksha. Api shabda. What does the api shabda indicate? Bhashyakara says api shabdat kimu vaktavyam. It is kaimuti kanyaya. Even if he does adharma, he will get moksha. What does it mean? If he is following the dharma, if he is having a good character, then his moksha is definite. It need not be separately told. It is very much definite. So api shabdat, because of api shabda, from api shabda what we have to understand, kimu vaktavyam, what needs to be told, swavrittastha na jayate. Swavrittastha, one who follows his vritta, his swadharma, na jayate, he is not reborn. Kimu vaktavyam, should this be told separately? Ityabhiprayah. So the implication is Jnani's moksha cannot be stopped by anything. Nanu यद्यपि ज्ञानोत्पत्त्यनन्तरं पुनर्जन्माभावः उक्तः तथापि. Okay, we will see this tomorrow. It's a discussion. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.